guys, so a lot of leaks and rumors and stuff have popped up over the last week. So I figured it's not a bad idea to do a whole video just going over all of those rumors and general gaming and Nintendo news that we just got. Some of this stuff you may have already heard, but some of it might be brand new or may have slipped by you over the last week. So let's dive right into it. First, let's talk the Nintendo Switch Online service, as a lot of stuff happened with that this week. We got 3 Sega Genesis games added to the Expansion Pass Genesis Collection: Space Harrier 2, Shining Force 2, and Sonic Spinball. I'm a big fan of Shining Force 2 myself. If you haven't played it, it's a lot like Fire Emblem. And it was made by Camelot, the same people who made Golden Sun. Check out the similarities between the icons and dialogue boxes in those two games. I'd strongly recommend giving Shining Force 2 a try, and the soundtrack is great too. Alright, so earlier this week we had a big leak for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games possibly being added at some point to the Nintendo Switch Online. Basically, an emulator called Sloop that was developed by NERD, Nintendo's European Research and Development Department, leaked online, which strongly suggests Nintendo is working on adding these consoles to the NSO at some point. Well, there was also a list of games that were tested in this emulator. The highlighted yellow games were tested at some point, but not currently in the leaked build of the emulator, apparently. All the rest are currently in the leaked emulator, though. So whether that means any of the games on this list are what we should expect a Game Boy Switch Online lineup to look like is anyone's guess. But there's some really cool stuff on this list, so I certainly hope at least some of these games do show up on a Game Boy Advance Switch Online service if we get one. There's also some rumors and theories right now that if the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance Switch Online console was actually added, that it would support connecting to the N64 Switch Online games. Transferring Pokemon to Pokemon Stadium, for instance, or getting extra characters in Mario Golf, for example. It would be really cool if they supported this. I loved the transfer pack back in the day, so yeah, I'd love to see that happen with the Switch Online. Also, one of the games on that list is Koro Koro Puzzle, which apparently was a tilt-sensitive game. So potentially games with the tilt sensitivity could utilize that ability on the Switch, and we'd get those games with tilt abilities, which would be pretty cool. Of course, the real hope I see everyone talking about with the possibility of Game Boy Advance stuff coming to the Nintendo Switch Online is that maybe it could finally be time to get an official international release for Mother 3. A pipe dream, I know, but they did make a big deal about Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings coming to the NSO, so who knows what the future could hold. This Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance Switch emulator leaking online wasn't the only potential NSO leak we got this week either. Apparently some upcoming NSO emulator updates got data mined, and they include yet-to-be-released NES titles. So this is a tweet from Caitlin Molinas, which says the leaked NES online application contains all the current titles that we have, but also several unreleased titles as well, including Pac-Man, Tetris, Galaga, and several Mega Man and Castlevania titles. This data mined application has a build date of October 2019, so this could be outdated, or it could just take a very long time to roll out the games that they've had planned for us that far in advance. Also, apparently not all the titles in this data mine are in a working state. Some, like Mega Man, actually have SP versions here and full descriptions, while others seem to just be placeholders. So when, or even if, we might see these NES games officially release on the NSO is anyone's guess, but still cool to get an idea of what might be in store for the future of the NES Switch Online library. Alright, next up are some potential Pokemon leaks. I'll start off with the most interesting and latest leak. This is possibly for an evolved form of one of the starter Pokemon for Scarlet and Violet. I'd give a warning and say if you want to avoid spoilers, not to watch the rest. However, starter Pokemon evolution leaks have a strong history of more often than not simply being faked. So there's a decent chance that this one is just fake as well. But again, we usually go through lots of Pokemon fakes before we get the real deal revealed. Anyway, here it is. So it's some concept art with some Japanese writing on it that I don't know what it says. It seems to be one of the evolved forms of Fuecoco, the fire starter for Scarlet and Violet. And it has some weird hair and some pink-tipped wings that look a little too small for it. If it's legit, I'd assume this is probably fairy fire type given those wings. But the really interesting thing about this one, giving it a bit more credibility than most, is that it actually ties into some obscure Spanish mythology. So there is a mythological creature from a legend based out of Girona, Spain, that this Fuecoco evolution could be a nod to. The Cocolona. The Cocolona is supposedly a river monster that was once a nun who was imprisoned for her lack of faith, and she eventually grew scales and turned into a crocodile-like creature. However, since she still was somewhat saintly, she also grew butterfly wings. Pretty odd cryptid creature here. Also now, I guess her ghost, or the ghost of this creature anyway, haunts a certain bridge now. So I guess throw in the possibility of ghost typing as well for the potential fairy typing I talked about before, if this one's legit. The Cocolona is a very obscure Spanish legend, so if this one is fake, the faker at least did some serious research to base their fake starter evolution on a real Spanish folklore crocodile creature, which takes some effort. Alright, also in Pokemon leaks, Centro Leaks on Twitter is claiming to have some Pokemon home information. They're saying that the Pokeballs from the Hisui region will be recognized and shown in home. Pokemon transferred from Legends Arceus will have all their moves deleted and replaced. Apparently same for Pokemon from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I guess. Pokemon Go Pokemon can be moved into Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. Also, supposedly, Alpha Pokemon from Legends Arceus won't display anything different in home, and their height and weight will revert to normal when transferred to older games. No idea if any of this is true myself, just reporting what they're saying, but I wouldn't be surprised as we've seen Pokemon transfers re-rolling and changing things about Pokemon before, with Pokemon from Pokemon Go, for example. So personally, I'd probably keep my hard-earned Alphas in Pokemon Legends Arceus rather than transfer them to home, if this is true. Alright, so what else happened with Nintendo stuff recently? Well, Splatoon 3 got a release date announced. It's coming September 9th, and we got a bunch of new images and stuff to check out for Splatoon 3. I can't wait for that game. Also, the Octo expansion DLC for Splatoon 2 has now been added to the NSO expansion pack. Glad to see more DLC on there. Definitely helps to make the expansion pack seem more worth it if they keep adding DLC for their games with the subscription. Also, speaking of Splatoon, there was a patent filed by Nintendo for a mini-map that appears to be for Splatoon 3. Seems the mini-map changes around dynamically as the action for the matches happen. And there was another patent from Nintendo as well. This one seems likely to be for Breath of the Wild 2, since the patent was filed by the Breath of the Wild technology supervisor, Takahiro Dota. This patent involves clothing and how clothing can clip through character models. I guess this is a patent about shrinking the character model beneath the clothing to prevent the clipping. I don't know how I feel about patents for these in-game concepts rather than things like hardware patents, which I'm obviously all for. Not sure if any company should really control this sort of thing, as it prevents other games from taking these good concepts and playing around with them in their own games. But hey, any possible news for Breath of the Wild 2, no matter how minor, I'm welcome to hear. Anyway, Splatoon 3 isn't the only upcoming Nintendo game that got a release date dropped. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is happening sooner than it was anticipated. It's dropping July 29th. We have Switch Sports releasing this month on April 29th, and we have the new Fire Emblem game, Three Hopes, scheduled for June 24th, and Mario Strikers Battle League on June 10th. So we have a lot of Nintendo Switch games to look forward to this year. Inrin Khan gave this guess at Nintendo's lineup for the year, and so far it seems to be pretty accurate, but remains to be seen if that continues, and they are saying it was just a guess. In other Nintendo news, Takeya Imamura, the character designer for Star Fox, wants to see Star Fox Zero on the Switch. Star Fox Zero is one of those few remaining Wii U exclusive games, and with so many getting ported over to the Switch and thriving on the Switch and doing much better there than they did on the Wii U, it would be nice to give Star Fox Zero that opportunity as well. So earlier this week, the key art for Sonic Origins leaked, and then very soon after we got an official reveal. As a classic Sonic fan, I'm pretty excited for this one. We have Headcanon working on it, and that's who we want to see working on classic Sonic games for sure. Plus, Powerhouse Animations is doing all the animated content, and they look great so far. Game is giving me serious Sonic Mania vibes, and that's awesome. Knuckles playable in Sonic 1, seeing Hidden Palace Zone here, lots of stuff for a classic Sonic nerd like myself to be excited for. I mean, just look at those 3D backgrounds for the different games, so awesome. There are some downsides here though. The different editions of this game lock you out of certain content, and in a remaster type game like this, not including all the content that you've worked on is kind of lame. Plus, it's super confusing to even tell which version you might want to pick up with which features you want to get with this chart they put out. And apparently the PC version uses Denuvo, a DRM anti-piracy thing, but Denuvo can apparently hinder a game's performance, and these are like 20-plus-year-old games. Is the fear of piracy here for these games really a big enough issue to add something like Denuvo that can hurt the game's performances? Oh well, even still, Sonic Origin looks really cool to me. As a fan of old school Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm excited for it. And speaking of Sonic, the upcoming Sonic Prime animated series on Netflix got a rating of TVY7. Now this is an animated Netflix show, not to be confused with the upcoming Knuckles spin-off show from Paramount based on the Sonic movies we just got. Anyway, Sonic Prime getting rated is hopefully good news. It'll actually see the light of day. See, recently Netflix reported a very bad first quarter this year, and then Netflix decided that dropping a bunch of its animated shows would be a good move for how to fix these losses somehow. This apparently means the Bone animation has been canceled. I wasn't even aware they were making an animation of Bone, but I love the comic. Of course, I also love Cowboy Bebop, and we saw what happened with Netflix and Bebop, so who knows how Bone would have been. Still sad to hear it got canceled. Maybe Nintendo was right not to add Netflix to the Switch just yet. Anyway, it remains to be seen if this Sonic Prime animated show will actually survive Netflix cutting of all these animated shows, but getting that rating is probably a good sign that it will actually get finished and fans can actually have a look at it. Anyway, in other Sega news, Bloomberg is reporting that Sega is developing big budget reboots for Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. Apparently this is part of Sega's Super Game Initiative, whatever that is. Both Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio are great, so I really hope these game reboots do in fact happen. Alright, so I'm also really super excited for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge. And we just got announced that the original 80s Turtles voice actors will be reprising their roles. This is looking to be a huge love letter to 80s Turtle fans, and I can't wait. Also, the Cowabunga Collection got a special edition shown off. The Cowabunga Collection is a collection of a ton of the old 2D Turtles games from back in the day. So as a big fan of old school Turtles beat-em-ups, there's a lot to be excited for this year. Apparently a Minecraft movie is being made, and Jason Momoa of all people might star in it. Not who I'd expect to play Steve, but it might make fighting Steve in Smash much more intimidating, picturing Jason Momoa behind that character. Supposedly, Bloomberg is reporting Ubisoft might be interested in a buyout, but who would buy Ubisoft or the specific details seem very fuzzy, so it's just a rumor for now. But game companies being acquired has been happening a lot lately. And finally, I'm not sure how true this rumor is, but I guess a possible Grand Theft Auto 6 logo might have leaked. Claims are being made online that a t-shirt with this stylized Roman numeral VI for 6 supposedly appeared on the Rockstar store. The t-shirt is titled Black-America's-Logo, so assumedly black means the t-shirt color, and America's might be something to do with the title of Grand Theft Auto 6. Potentially. Again, no idea how legit this one is, but I figured I'd mention it in the world of gaming leaks that happened recently. Alright, well that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff we talked about today, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.